Okay, so the next part of this lesson that I want to go over is what are we going to do when there's intersecting lines? Okay, so let's start putting some letters on here. A, B, C, D, E. Okay, what we have is just kind of another aspect of this. Remember we just talked about linear pairs? Okay, well, we have linear pairs in this problem. We just have a few more angles. So if you look at these two, technically they form a straight angle AEC, right? So we still have linear pair problems in here. What I'm going to start with is this linear pair concept to develop the idea of what's going to go on with vertical angles, okay? So that's kind of our goal. Now what I want to do is show you this. Let's say for a minute that that's a 40-degree angle. The vertical angle is the angle across from it. We'll define it a little better in a minute. If we use the linear pair concept, we're going to find out what that is. Here's what I mean. If I have a linear pair between these two, right? If those are a linear pair, we know that they are supplementary. So let's start with, we'll call this x. We're going to solve for x for a minute. X plus 40 should be the same as 180. We'll subtract 40, and we get x is 140, right? So let's just see what we've updated to. So we had a 40 here. We solved for x. Now we have a 140 there. Our goal is here. Now look at what we have in this case. These two angles right here, they also form a linear pair. We'll call this one y, right? So y plus 140 equals 180. And you're going to see that no matter what we do, right here, so y is 40, so we get 40 degrees. No matter what we do, those two, which we're going to call vertical angles in a minute, those two have to be the same. So they're going to be congruent. Okay. Now, for linear pair, okay, linear pair, we're going to say are supplementary. They add to 180, right? Vertical angles, we're going to say they're going to be congruent. All right. And let's define vertical angles because it is very tricky. There can be some difficult situations with it. So I want to really define it. Vertical angles occur okay, when two angles are formed where both sides are opposite rays. Now, what do I mean by that? Okay, so an opposite ray basically looks like this. If you have a straight, any line straight, but if you have a straight angle, okay, straight angles are formed by opposite rays, all right? So in a case like this, because it's a straight angle, BA and BC are opposite rays, okay? Because angle ABC is a straight angle, okay? Now, here's what we do when we develop vertical angles. We come through like this with another pair of opposite rays. We'll call this D and E, right? So what we have is BD, ray BD, and ray BE are opposite rays for the same reason, well, similar reason, I should say, because angle DBE, right, DBE is a straight angle, okay? So now the angles formed by these opposite rays, right, they are vertical angles because they're formed by two pairs of opposite rays, okay? So as a conclusion, using the definition, in this case, angle ABD and angle CBE are vertical angles, okay? So I really wanted to define what that is. Why? Well, we will get some pretty nasty situations here where, you might end up having, several angles in the same intersection. Okay, so this is a much more complex situation. We'll say that maybe this is E, F, G, H, and I, right? Okay. Okay, so here's the trick on this one. They'll have to say something like this in this problem. FJI, and they might just write this down. Why? That's to say that angle FJI is a straight angle. We conclude that. They'll write this as directions, and all it's saying is FJI is a straight angle. Okay, so they give some weird directions sometimes, and I want to clarify why. They kind of have to tell you that that is a straight or collinear set of points. Okay, they will also tell us, because we really can't do the problem unless they do, they will also tell us EJH, right? They won't say anything else. They'll just say EGH along a straight path. What that's saying? Well, angle EJH is a straight angle. So it's important that we understand what's going on. What does this mean? When we see this on a problem, what does it mean? Okay, so why was I so specific on vertical angles? Well, because what about these two angles right here? Okay, what about angle GJH and angle EJF? What about them? Well, they're not vertical angles. Why? Not vertical angles. They look like they're across from each other. If we stick to a kind of a loose definition, they are in fact across from each other, but they're not vertical angles because we have a better definition. We have a better definition in that both pairs of sides have to be opposite rays. Now, you could argue, well, JE, right, and JH are opposite rays, and that's two of the sides. But their other two sides, JF and JG, are not opposite rays. That's why. Oops. So, the definition's critical here. These are not vertical angles. They have some other, relationship, but it's not vertical. So we've got to be really specific when we talk about this. All right, let's do some quick problems here. With vertical angles, I'll make it a little bit better here. So basically, if this is 51 degrees and that's x degrees, it's very simple. X equals 51. All right? Of course, we will add a little bit more to it. We'll say, what if this is 4x plus 1? And again, be careful here. I know it's confusing, but we got to do this the right way. Okay? Now, I would have to tell you these are straight angles. They are. Okay? Right now, then, we have vertical angles, and we know they must be equal. Right? So vertical angles are congruent. This is the symbol for congruent. So set equal to solve. All right, this is what I mean by set them equal. So 4x plus 1 equals 2x plus 61. Okay. Then we'll subtract 2x. This is just a style. Everybody does this differently. So I like to get x's to one side if I can first with a linear equation. Subtract 1 and get rid of the plus 1, right? Divide by 2 and we get x is 30. If we, let's say, we don't have to plug them back in, we'll just go with that. Okay. So that's a quick lesson on vertical angles. You're going to have to watch that a couple times. There's a lot to it. Good luck.